let me tell you the story about how your neck is actually going to impact what's happening with your jaw. So, first and foremost, we're talking about three different things that are all in a very tiny area right through here. If you're considering your jaw like this, come back just 1 centimeter just behind your jaw, you're dealing with the top vertebra in the neck, the C1, which is protecting your brainstem. And just below that, 1 centimeter or just a single finger width, that's the C2 vertebra, which is responsible for turning your head like this. Now, you probably don't need to know all of this anatomy, so really, what's the point here? The point is that this little area, the neurology, the muscles, the ligaments, all of the bits and pieces through this area are connected. And so what will happen with one has the tendency to happen with another. Particular paying attention to C2. Why is that? It's because when you normally are opening your mouth, that movement right there, the central point or axis of your jaw hinge moving open and closed like this is actually the middle of the C2 vertebra. And so what I want you to imagine that if the C2 vertebra, that big one right at the base of your skull sticking out really big in the back, it's supposed to be that way, but if that one has ever been injured, not broken, not dislocated, not necessarily blood or even bruising, but if it is injured in such a way where it shifts off its own normal axle to the point where basically your head and your neck aren't moving the way that they are supposed to, well, what's going to happen? Well, let's say, for example, that it's going to shift a bit like this. Now, what that is going to do is if you have a shift like this occurring at C2, your body's going to try to compensate. What is it going to do? It's actually going to cause a little bit of a shift to happen in the jaw also. Now, what does that going to mean? That means that when you open your jaw, instead of it opening nice and smooth like this, now what it's going to do is it's going to deviate. It's going to be getting abnormal feedback where it's going to start to pivot one way before it opens like this. So if I over-exaggerate, it's something that's going to look a little something like this. Zig, zag, zig, zag. That's a sign of what we call a neuromuscular TMJ condition. And very often, the area that is controlling the way that those muscles and nerves are working is what's happening with the C1 and the C2 vertebra. Now, why is that? It's because the muscles that control the way that your jaw moves are controlled by the processing center that's actually present not just in the brain, but actually the upper part of your spinal cord, and is particularly sensitive to things that can be happening with the alignment and the motion of the C1 and the C2 vertebra. So what does it mean? It means that if, over a long enough period of time, a problem in the neck starts to change the way that your jaw moves, is it can start then to cause the jaw to prematurely wear down. What is that going to be? Clicking, grinding the teeth, clenching, tension, sometimes a blocked ear sensation, where this just feels really, really tight, sometimes to the point where you're even getting facial pain, headaches, all of this stuff. Absolutely, yes, it's associated with the TMJ. And there can be plenty of independent things going on with the TMJ itself also. But one of the key things is if a person's going to actually be looking for a long-standing resolution for what is going on with their TMJ, one of the key elements must be that the joints in the upper part of their neck are free and clear to be able to move the way that they are supposed to. Otherwise, you can do all of work in the jaw as you want, but what you're effectively doing is you're swimming against the current. Versus, if you've got the alignment in the neck properly orientated, then the jaw is able then to freely move the way it's supposed to, and that oftentimes is the missing piece, or at least one of the missing pieces, for oh so many people when they know they've got a long-standing TMJ issue, and yet nobody can quite figure out what's going on. So my question here for you is simply this, is if you've been dealing with some kind of a long-standing TMJ issue, again, whether or not it's causing you pain, but reality it probably is, let me ask you the question, who, if anyone, has ever had a very precise look at the alignment of the joints in the upper part of your neck to find out if there could be perhaps a connection between that and what's going on with your jaw condition? Again, I'm not going to be so bold to say that all TMJ conditions are because of the upper part of the neck. That's absolutely not true. But I do know that if that upper neck is an issue here, that getting the right kind of tests done, being able to get the right diagnosis, means that you can do something different that's actually going to get you a lot better probability of getting a favorable response and get the kind of relief that you're looking for your TMJ issue. Thanks for watching the video. As always, I hope that you found it both valuable but also very informative. We'll see you next time.
For more information about upper cervical care, please call us on 3188 9329 or visit us at atlashealth.com.au.